Hey, Celeste Buckaroos, how the heck are you? I thought I'd pop on here one more time to do a couple more cocktails with you. I'll take a pause for the cause, but I've been on for a while. I really wanted to get on last night, but I was so tired after work, I just couldn't do it. I never want to drink if I can't really enjoy it. It's kind of where I was last night between being tired and pain. I'm just going to call it an evening. Anyways, well, anyway, I have been off today and I got to relax with some friends earlier this evening. So I thought I'd come back on here and do a couple more videos with you, if you will. Get things figured out here. It's not popping on for some reason, so we'll let it sit for a second. Anyway, so I'm gonna make a cocktail right in front of you. We are talking about some different cocktails in the last video, and it reminded me of some ingredients that I have here. So I thought, well, let's use what we've got. So, anyways, got me thinking there for a second. I was going back and forth about a couple of things. Anyways, nevertheless, so I'm going to use what I have here. I'm going to measure it out so I know exactly what I'm putting in here. But I'm going to use the remainder of my Rieger's Sweet Mash Straight Bourbon Whiskey. What's interesting about this particular whiskey, in all honesty, it is the mash. It is only 56% corn, 30% rye, and 14% malted barley. 56% corn is on the low end. For many, especially commercial bourbons, that's why this one's just a cut above. I love that 30% rye. Kind of that rye spice balances out the corn. That's why I'm not necessarily a fan of the trend these days about wheated bourbons. I'm not a big fan because there's a reason why bourbon was made the way it was, right? There's a reason why. There's a reason why rye is a secondary grain to balance out the sweetness of the corn. Now, some folks like that wheat. It does make it a softer bourbon, but it also makes it a sweeter bourbon. So, anyways, I digress. So let me find. Brought out my bitters, but I'm not finding them. So I've got that Rieger's. I'm going to add cardamom bitters in here. And then I'm going to put so here's what I got here. This was Sweetwater's bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. Obviously, this isn't 100% maple syrup. Here's what I did here is that, hey, Carlos, how are you? Is that there was just a tiny bit of syrup left in here. I dropped the cinnamon stick in here, and then I put a raw sugar simple in there. So I got that. So what I have going here isn't pure maple, but it's a maple simple, if you're following me. Let's see where my deal goes. So we'll do the maple simple in there. I was debating between, I used the cardamom, but the reason I was hesitating there is I almost used my ginger bitters, kind of going back and forth on what I thought I wanted for this particular cocktail. Anyways, anyways, I digress. Here's what we got, folks. Using the rest of my Riegers here and Sluncia. Oh, mercy, that's nice. So, as always, anybody have any questions or comments, please ask. I'll answer almost everything, unless you're being a colossal asshat. If anybody, any of my friends out there want to be part of the video, let me know, and I will send you the link, as we've done in the past. Gosh, that's just tasty. That's just good, man. I don't care how you. So traditionally, a maple old fashioned is your bourbon maple syrup. Some want to add a simple to it, and then your bitters. Some usually, in all honesty, I typically use the black walnut bitters, but I wanted to do this one slightly different, which is why I use the cardamom. I use the maple simple, making it more of an old fashioned than anything else. But yeah, and then I wanted to use the cardamom simple. And the other reason was I do have the black walnut bitters, but I want to use them for the second cocktail, and I didn't want to use the same bitters for both cocktails. So I wanted to see what the cardamom did with this one. With that with the maple simple. I tell you, man, this syrup was insanely good. I got to right to the end of it and said, okay, I want to make a syrup out of it. So I added a raw sugar simple. I dropped a cinnamon stick in there. So I added a little bit. So I got like a cinnamon maple simple going on there. Picked that up in Ohio last year when my wife and I were on vacation for our 30th anniversary. Ray Carlo Bore, I'm going to post a comment there. You guys are getting ahead of me, so I'll post what I can find, man. Anyway, slideshow. But if any of you are drinking anything tonight, if you want to share that with me, we can have a conversation, which is typically what I do at the pub. That's why I call these videos at the pub. Oh, that one came out nicely, though. I do like that. I want to use the rest of my J Riegers for this particular cocktail. Man, that's nice. That's very nice. I do prefer a classic cocktail, right? Sometimes I think I suffer from a cocktail age gap. I've noticed younger bartenders tend to want to put a lot of ingredients in a cocktail, the same way that a lot of younger chefs want to add a lot of ingredients, where older chefs prefer to stick with classics or a version of, which is kind of what I do. For me, everything is every cocktail is using the Manhattan as a template. Where I've noticed younger so-called mixologists want to add this, that, and the other, but I think sometimes they add things just for the sake of adding things. However, and it's quite a big however. However, I've seen younger colleagues of mine come up with flavor profiles that I would have never come up with. So my hats are off to them. It just, for me, it's all about the classics. So I tend to stick with what I know. Oh man, this is nice. All right, so I didn't get all of it in there, so let me get the rest of it in going. Then we're gonna start over, and I've got a second cocktail I want to have with you, so I got to step off camera slightly to get that ready. Well, we're going to finish the rest of this one first. I just realized I forgot to do something, though. Darn it. Oh, darn. Oh, darn. Forgot to do something real quick, man. That was a bummer. Okay, let me fix this. There we go. Now we're in business. Well, that was the last one. Bear with me. I'm having some technical issues, man. Hold on for a second. I'm not ignoring you. Just I am technologically challenged. Let's just say. I'm trying to get this fixed, but I can't seem to get where I'm going there. There we go. Anyways, let me say that. So I finished the rest of my riggers here. And my straight up maple old fashioned. So if you're looking at recipes and you're saying, Tom, I'm looking at a recipe for a maple old fashioned, but it's served on the rocks. What I have to say to you is serve every cocktail the way you want to, whether it's straight up or rocks. The next question you might ask is, Tom, the recipe I saw calls for black walnut bitters. I will tell you, I love black walnut bitters. I have them here, but it doesn't mean you can't experiment, which is why I wanted to use the cardamom for this particular version because of the flavor profile of that bourbon and that maple simple. I thought this would be absolutely perfect, and I'm not wrong. It may not be what you're looking for, but for me, man, it's just brilliant. So, anyways, anyways, I digress. So we'll see what we got here as it all shakes out. I'm gonna button my shirt here because it's bugging the shit out of me sitting here. Anyway, anyways, I digress. So here's what we got. There we go. I don't know why. So issues with my privacy. For some reason it wasn't showing up, so I had to restart it to get it back. Anyways, there we are. So I'm gonna finish up this J Riggers, and I'm gonna step off camera just for about a hot second while I set up the second cocktail. So bear with me. I've always wondered why people say bear with me when they don't have a bear with them, but nevertheless, this is where we are. Anyways, this is where we are at this particular moment in time. So, anyways, Sláinte. Oh, that's nice, man. That's very nice. Actually, I said I was going to step off camera, but I think I'll just end it here and I'll set up a new video to do the second video. So we don't have to have that gap. But anyway, anyway, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom. And for this particular cocktail, we have the Riggers Bourbon. out of Kansas City, Missouri. We had some cardamom bitters, and we had my homemade maple cinnamon simple. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, prayer runner, all around good guy, luncher.